So my short film is called Victory's Last Call because it's been a bit of a like here and go season. We've not really been the best, but because it's something that hasn't happened yet, I don't know what's going to happen as I'm filming a documentary about my at a local football team, and because it hasn't actually happened yet, you don't know what can happen. It isn't like a dramatized thing that you made up. It's like a thing that's happening at the time. Because you have documentaries that are like stuff that's happened in the past and they're like reenacting it, rather than this is like highlighting what's like gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'll just go to the next. Actually, yeah, I'll point that out where the next season ends and the next story begins. That's like the tagline going for, as it's like the last game of the season. So it's the last like triumphant bit before they lead into the next season, because anything can happen.
Yeah, true. Cool.
So what's it all about? To start off, it is going to be like created like for the fans, and because I'm a fan of the club, it kind of highlights that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be like I said, showcasing our final like game with the lead up to the game. So like training in the week, getting like a bunch of like interviews, reactions, and then leading up to the actual game day with like travelling over to Mago, because that's where it's going to be.
Cool.
And doing a bunch of stuff like that. But like I did mention earlier, I don't know what's going to actually happen. So it kind of leaves that like drama and like narrative that I can push on myself if I want to be like really creative with it. So my aim is to like kind of add a narrative over it. So I'm presuming you've seen like some like I can't remember the exact documentaries like Amazon have made. I think it's like Sunderland Till I Die, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wrexham. But there's one on YouTube, I think it's by a channel called Bunch of Amateurs, what pretty much kind of does like every week they do like they've like I don't know, like 5 of them, and they create like around 30-40 minute episodes of just like leading up to that game. So I'm taking like inspiration from that, and they also do like narrative over the game. So it's not just clips of the game; it gives the story to it.
Yeah, and there's a whole kind of
and it kind of makes you feel like, yes, you might have not been there, but you understand it, witness it, not just from a football fan, but just from a casual like watcher of anything. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, that is what makes it interesting, because until the 12th of April, I don't really know like what direction I can take it in until it happens. So like with the script and storyboard, everything like that. So like my pre-production side of things, I will have to do that after the 12th of April, and then plan it forward, and then go and do the editing afterwards.
Right. Okay.
Do you have any questions about that?
When you say doing your pre-production after, do you mean just for that game bit? Because obviously you're going to have your interviews throughout the week.
Yes.
So you plan that.
That'll be in the week leading up to the 12th of April. So I kind of have to halt it a bit to then like push it more forward, because of course I don't really know many of like the storylines and stuff that's happening until it happens much. Of course, I've been to games this season, and I think I've been to like most, if not every game. So I kind of have like the understanding of the players and the teams. I can lead into that a bit more, and I can kind of like write a very rough script of like, but more just like pointers to what I need to do. Yeah. But apart from that, you can't really do it until it happens. Rather than if you're doing like a sitcom, for example, you kind of know what you're doing because you plan what your actors are going to do. So that leads into my next slide. It's my genre mood board. I've pretty much took a bunch of photos from the club at a photographer, Ian Meachard, as I'll want to get like similar shots for my shot. So for example, if you look at the top right over there, that's the like corner flag. Like I could do stuff like that leading like up to the game, for example. So I can add like little like at establishing shots. Then of course you have the one further down on the right there, what's like more like gameplay, and then you have like a bunch of others that's like your like close-ups of players. You've got yeah, like I said, your flags, your fans, because like I said, I'm not just wanting to do it like for the club or like for myself.
Yeah.
It's for the fans and like retrospective. So I'm going to try and get also like fan interviews and stuff like that.
Right, okay, cool.
So it's just like the mix of everything from like both sides. So it's not just like catered to like one thing. And it also gives me the opportunity to get as much content as I can.
Yeah.
That then will make it the best that I possibly can, really.
With the game itself,
Yes.
obviously I know you've done it. You've gone at the past of going to film the whole game.
Yeah.
Is the film going to include the full game, or are you
No.
just going to have the snippets of?
It's going to be like big snippets of like the best moments.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Because it's more about like the lead up and like the feeling of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than the game. Of course, going to have a good amount of game footage, but I'm only going to choose like the best bits. So like if there's like a really good shot, or if there's like a goal or like a good tackle or safe stuff like that, I'm going to do like key moments for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then possibly in my own time, I would go and like edit like a full like 20-minute, because that would be too long for a short film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than like a couple minutes or like 5 minutes max, I feel like that's like a good way.
Yeah. While we're
kind of do it.
While we're on runtime, how long do you think it's going to be?
Probably like I would aim for like 10 to 15, just because it's going to have a lot of like the
Footage and
the footage. So because for starters, I already have 90 minutes of football footage.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and film a lot of like the training stuff that's going to happen in the week. Then of course interviews as well. Kind of just adds it up a lot.
Yeah.
So I bet overall I could have around 2 hours of footage that then I'll have to edit down to that like 10-15 minute mark.
Right. Okay. Cool.
To the next slide. So for my location, as I previously mentioned, I'll be using like the training areas down at Mali. I think they train down at in Keighley. But then like I said, with the story of it, it'll be going over to Stevenage, where they all meet on the bus and then travel over. So I'll get like footage from that and stuff. And then of course, when you're over in Magalwat's Liverpool area, I'll be doing it on that pitch, and that's why I've added it as the background.
Cool. Right. Okay.
So
are you going to be doing it from the stadium, or are you going to be kind of on the pitch with them?
It'll be like pitch side mainly, so it gives like the same experience. Even if I'm on like the side of the pitch or on the actual pitch or like on like the barricade, it doesn't really matter as much. It gives like the same feeling, the same illusion. But for like you said, with like training in the game and like afterwards for like reaction stuff like that, I would like to try and go on the pitch, but of course that would have to be contacting their club to see if they would allow it, because every club is iffy. Some won't care at all if they know you're a part of that club, which I am, or some are like really strict with it, where you like can't do anything. So it'll be like a mix of both, and I'll also not just get like the game, but I'll get like before the game in like the bar or changing rooms, stuff like that. But yeah, that's about it for location.
How do you think you're going to build that tension up? So you've got the interviews, and you might find that you've got the interviews in, and then you've got the game, and you might find that you're missing something. Do you think?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think you could add to?
That's why I'm gonna have that in between of like the actual travel there, so it's like in like a clean motion,
right? Okay.
Rather than it just kind of jumping from one bit to another. It kind of moves in like a smooth motion. Okay. But then also makes sense for the viewer who's watching.
Yeah, yeah.
And then gets a similar idea for a non-league football club, as there isn't like there's a bunch of football clubs, but there isn't like much content on them.
Right. Okay.
So that's what I'm like trying to like take for it to show that side of football, because you're always seeing like Premier League, Champions League, like the big
Trying to show the
tournaments.
non-leagues can
Yeah.
do this kind of stuff
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Can do the same, and it also gives you the same feeling as well.
Yeah.
But so how am I making? So I'll be using the Lumix camera provided by the college. What's a 4K camera, I believe. So that just gives me the best opportunity to capture the best footage, pretty much. And then usually with like what I do, I will add a video mic on top of it. It isn't like the best for sound, but it like just gets that massive area rather than trying to like mic up everyone. Then it becomes a bit of pain. Also, that would get in the way, and I don't think the league would allow that technically because
of with wireless mics and
one, you have to get wireless. You'd have to like really tuck it in, and two, even with wireless, if someone like grabs on the lead, then that's a big problem.
Yeah, there's risk assessment.
There's a bunch of risk assessments. So there's some stuff that you can do, but with that, I wouldn't say as much unless you're like a keeper or something. Then you could get away with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, I use video mic just to capture like
the wide area,
the wide area of the sound, and then for like interviews, I will most likely use the like wireless mics more, just because it's pretty easy, quick to get going, and it's good quality sound. But if of course I can't do that, I will just have to use the video mics, as they still give like really good audio for it. But it would be better if I could do that, just for like the more like better like professional look, if that makes sense. But yeah, so with like my camera setup, usually I will have a tripod on there. So I have my own. I can't remember the brand, but so yeah, like I said, I use a tripod on it, and so I can like go over the game and like kind of like follow it, if that makes sense.
And we have limited lenses for the Lumix, so how are you going to kind of get those like close-in shots, do you think?
That is like one of like the problems, you could say, with like our college cameras. But on the other side, there's a lot of moments where they're like really up close anyway, because it's like across the other side of the pitch. But if they're like in like your half of it, you can still get like a really good shot of it. Kind of like that photo, for example.
Right. Okay.
I've got a lot of similar ones where it's like got that shot that you need. Of course, they have to be a lot closer, so it'll be a lot more infrequent. But then that also adds to what I was going to say about my crew, because I could then add another cameraman that will focus on those like close-up shots, because he has not a better camera necessarily. I think it's another Lumix, but it has like I think a 200 times zoom, so of course you can get that really good clean image and like up close as well, rather than I can just go for like the more like the gameplay stuff.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, like I said, that's with my crew to kind of get that like alternative angle, and also if I've gonna do, let's say, like 5 interviews in like 15 minutes, for example, that's very hard on your own. You can really only ask like 1 or 2 questions and kind of just bullet point it off, rather than if I had someone there helping me and I kind of gave them the questions and stuff to ask, then it would make that process a lot quicker. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I won't need any actual casting, just because it's an in-life event, and apart from like, of course, you could technically say the teams have been casted them because they're like signed to that club or whatever. But like for my sake, trying to find people, everyone's already there, and it's kind of like that audience. That you could say it's kind of casted, but then they're not like officially like you don't have to like write all the stuff down, apart from if they would be fine with filming it, sort of thing. What isn't a problem, because you go into like a public area where that can happen. So like people kind of like expect it, if that makes sense.
Cool.
Any questions on that?
Just on that casting thing, so do you think there's any documentation that you might, because obviously you might get that person that just goes, I don't want to actually be filmed. How are you going to kind of deal with that? Potential conflict?
I haven't had too many with that, because if that's going to happen, you would have someone like come up to you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've never had that done before in like I think it's like 5-6 months of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that hasn't become an issue yet. But if it did become an issue, I would edit it in post, or like or like try and cut them out of it as much as possible.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, thank you for listening. Any extra questions?
Yeah, so it's a good idea. I like it. Bit concerned just about kind of your, so you're shooting on the 12th of April.
Yeah, 12th of April.
Before is when you're going to shoot your interviews.
Yes, or like in the week.
Yeah. So then, if you've got, say, that added camera as well, you've got 4 hours of footage to edit.
Yeah.
And you've got all your interviews to edit. How do you think you're going to manage that time?
I don't think we manage that time. So I'll do it in like sequences. So I'll do like all the interviews first. I kind of have that idea of what I want it to be.
Yeah.
So I'll just have to find like the quick spots of it. And then also I'll probably try and do the game as soon as I possibly can. So it's like already fresh in my mind. So I know, all right, this is a good bit, this is a good bit, this is a good bit. And then you kind of put it all together.
Is there anything do you think you could do during the game to maybe find highlights?
So like, for example, what I do every time a goal is scored, I will create a new clip. So I'm like, okay, someone scored here.
Right, okay.
Or like at the very end. So I know this is the entire lead up to that goal.
Yeah, okay.
And then I can work it out from there.
Yeah.
And then same thing with like half time, full time, of course. You have to stop it there more or less. Because there's no point leaving like 15 minutes of footage just for nothing.
Yeah. Where do you think this is going to go after you've edited it and submitted it? Is there any kind of destination for it, or is it just going to stay on?
With that, there's for starters, I'll post it onto my at a YouTube channel as a thing that I already do, and then also I could try and get it into a film festival. There's a lot of like more like sport indicated ones.
Okay.
I think that would fit like really well for it.
Cool. What kind of research do you think have you done so far on this kind of topic? I know you've been doing it practically the last 6 months.
Yeah. Like I said, with like this, it's more like it's with like your players and other stuff. It's more like primary research, as there isn't like much to like find out of sorts, because apart from like what the club posts, what other clubs post, what the league posts, there isn't like much like stuff. But because I've been following them like last like at least like probably like 5-6 years now, I kind of have that grasp. I know the players, I know the kind of system of it. So the secondary research isn't needed as much for like the like team side or like the league stuff like that. It's more your documentary styles, which I've been like watching, like similar like not just football documentaries, but like more like sports ones that happen in the moment, to see if I can take anything from it.
Yeah. And on documentaries, what kind of code and conventions or modes do you think your documentary fits in at the moment?
So I would say it like fits like, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's like the one where it happens in like more of like a linear sequence.
Yeah.
So like for example, at the start I could add like teaser clips of like what's to come up of like the game, but like apart from that, I would take it in like a linear sequence. So like I say, going from training to the match over to the thing, rather than adding like your narration and other stuff like that.
Yeah. What
kind of fits well, and that's kind of like the style that I'm going for. Even if that could take a bit of time to kind of like perfect, I want to make it like not dramatized, but I want to make it like fun and enjoyable to like watch, with like adding like humor to it and stuff like that, but would kind of set it apart from like other ones that I've seen.
And are you going to narrate it yourself?
Yeah. I'll be making the script, doing like I won't use a storyboard as much, because that'd be more of like a rough sketch of everything that I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I'll do the entire script bit, the entire recording of it all myself.
Cool. And what kind of maybe training or skills do you think you need to kind of refresh on before you do this? Is there anything that's come up when you've been doing your weekly football that you need to refresh on something in Premiere, or is there any kind of camera skills that you need to work on?
Yeah, there'll be probably some editing techniques that could make it better. But I was thinking like more with like my graphics sort of thing, as I feel like that's the thing that I'm not really that like skilled in, as we haven't really done much with the club. I think we had like one like quick session on it, but apart from that, we've done absolutely nothing. So like if I'm wanting to for example, if I'm wanting to create a graphic for a player, if I'm talking to them or whatever, so people know who their name is, what I like stats. That is not hard to do, but it's more challenging for me as I don't really know how to do it. I haven't taught myself to actually do it. Rather, so it could look a bit out of place and stuff.
Okay, cool.
And then, like I said, you've also got like a couple camera stuff because like for mine, I use most of it on the automatic modes, as that's just because of course it's always moving, it's always changing. It's kind of hard to change stuff. So with the focusing, for example, I try and use the focus wheel as much as possible.
Yeah.
Just because that gives you like the best experience, and it also doesn't look like really like jaded if you use the automatic focus. But personally, I aren't the biggest fan on, especially on like the Lumixes. It's just like perfecting how that's going to be.
Right.
So it's in focus for as much time as possible.
Cool. Well, that's all my questions then. Super.
Right.
Thank you very much, Luke.